I will start, and then we have some time in the background to look at the technical problems.
That looks great. Okay, so I'll leave and I'll come back. So everyone enjoy at least Tarwan's presentation for now.
Thanks a lot, Hannah. Great.
I'll be back.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, I'd like to give a short background about our pilot project and the topic of sound regarding Mercedes. Especially for EVs, it has become an even more important matter. We have the need to fill the new silence that we have introduced with our cars with emotion and bring the car interactively more to the driver. Especially in our new EQS, we have a very quiet interior with a very low noise level. And so every sound that you apply to the car, that you bring in the interior and the exterior, has to be very carefully selected. And that's what we did in the last few years with my colleagues here. We developed the voice of the EQS, its own language. But when you look at such a car with such a phenomenous set of technology and design, perhaps one sound is not enough to live up to the potential of the car. So we thought, why not look at more situations than just the driving? There's the situation of approaching the car, leaving the car, entering and parking the car, where subtle sound effects on the outside and the interior of the car can make the interaction more intuitive and bring emotion into the play. So we designed a product which is called Sound Experience, which is a mix of informational sounds and emotional driving sound for the driver, and is a holistic experience which is applied from the beginning of the contact with the car to leaving it. And of course, historically we come from driving sounds and engine sounds, and we know our customers quite well. So we know that they're not alike. There are very many types of customers, and we divided them in 3 segments, and we created special sound worlds for each of the typical driver types that we found. So there's the Silver Waves sound world, we call it, which is a very pure and elegant sound. We got Vivid Flux, which is more for the EV driver, very far out, nothing like a combustion. And we got Roaring Pulse, which is really exciting, which has a lot of lower frequencies and it's very powerful. And we know that nothing can replace the real excitement that you have when you drive it in the car, but I have a short sample video which gives a walkthrough to one of our sound worlds. It's called Vivid Flux. All of these sounds that you hear are played back by the car and partly also generated live while driving.
I was just guessing, is the concept of have more sound sets present in the vehicle? Is that known? Is that already known? Yeah. To all.
So that was just a short overview, and here you can see the UI menu, which will be in the EQS, and where we give the user the opportunity to change the sound world and the voice of the car, depending on his own taste and perhaps the mood of the day. So we have informational sounds, we play back sounds on the inside and the outside of the car. We have synthesis on board to generate live engine sounds in the car, and we also thought of user interaction. So something like starting of the EATS gets also illustrated by sounds. And these are new situations, especially the topic of charging the car. And also there we have feedback sounds that make the use more easy. Of course, the most important feature is the off button. So everyone who wants to enjoy the silence of the EV can also do that. And we have prepared the platform to be open for over-the-air updates in the future. So what do we do? We try to make the car more emotional And for that topic, I have a short clip also, which shows how the first testers or users in the public have reacted.
Before you do that, sorry, Darwin, can I just ask, before you share the link, could you try turning off your screen share and then showing the video afterwards? Because it looked like the first video didn't actually play, so it may be just a technical issue where it doesn't allow both to happen at the same time.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
You suggest skipping the video and just do it afterwards?
It's fine, it's up to you, but just if you turn off the screen share right now, because of course we can see that you're doing the screen share, and then share the video link, then perhaps that might work a little bit
actually
better.
the videos are not on YouTube, so they're only local on my machine, so I cannot share that. Could you see my presentation? Was that okay? Should I go back to that, or?
You can try it again. Right now, I see a very nice background picture though. Vision AVTR. I think it's.
Oh, right. That's a pity.
Let's
try again.
Great. But the numbers are growing, and now 31 people here. So for the people that have just joined, we have Oleg and Arvand. We had a bit of a technical issue earlier, but
no problem.
It's going well again. So we have Oleg, who's the CEO of Endel Sound, and we also have Arvand, who is the sound designer at Mercedes or Daimler. So Arvand, your screen is working now, so I'll let you take over once again.
Great. Sorry for not being able to see the pictures and the explanations, but perhaps you could follow a bit, and we try again with a video with some reactions to the driving sound.
Ravand, I'm afraid there's no sound to those videos right now.
Okay, we just leave that. What you could perhaps see in the first pictures was excitement in the faces of the journalists and the drivers here. So that is one emotion that sound is capable of to create. And but we don't also think about the excitement of driving. We also think about a situation where the driver wants to and get back to himself and use the car as an own ecosystem, perhaps also as a well-being temple. So one other topic that I want to present is the Energizing Comfort programs, which we introduced with the new S-Class, the 223. They are all pointed towards different emotions that we want to evoke and that we want to support. So there's a well-being program which plays very relaxing sounds, and also according to that, a light installation, animations, synchronous AC and massage programs, and also on the opposite side, something like the Vitality, which should give you more energy and make you more concentrated during the drive. So we synchronize all of these senses and the media possibilities that we have in the car in this ecosystem and make it a full holistic experience, not just using surround sound, but also other elements. So as we cannot see the video, here's, or perhaps we can only see the video, this animation gets translated into the light and in the car actually.
We can see the video playing Arvand if you like. It looks like there's an option. There's also a volume sharing option for the screen share as well. So if it's possible, you can unclick the mute button. It should be possible that we can hear the sounds also on your screen share as well as yourself.
I clicked the share audio button when I shared it. So I'm not sure what I can do more.
That's okay.
Yeah,
we were still able to see it at least, so I think that's probably the most important part.
Yeah, I think the best way to experience this anyhow is to get into the car.
Exactly.
So, like, what I'm very excited about is with the cooperation with Endel, we looked at not at a linear program, which is very perfectly orchestrated and arranged through the time and has a perfect dramaturgy, but we looked at a feature or at an algorithm that can create sound based on your situation, based on the time of day, based on any input actually that is of help to make the soundscape better. And that's what we are quite excited about. So what happens after the 10 minutes of pre-recorded and well-structured music and installation in the car. And yeah, so I'd like to hand over to Oleg for the Endel introduction.
Thanks, Ravan. I'm gonna try and share my video, my screen again, because I do have a presentation. No, it doesn't look like it's working. We're just gonna try that one more time. Anyway, then I'm going to, like, as a backup option, I have 2 videos I can share. So I'm just gonna narrate them. The first one is to explain, what Endel is. So Endel is a technology that was built to help you focus, relax, and sleep. And we do that by procedurally generating a soundscape in real time, on the spot, on the device, personalized to you based on a number of inputs that we collect about the user. So we take in information like the time of day, the weather, your heart rate, your movement. We plug all of this data into the algorithm and we create a soundscape in real time. And then there's 2 scientific pillars behind Endel. Number 1 is the science of the circadian rhythms. We all have that internal clock that is built into our bodies that regulates the phases through which we're going during the day. How you feel alert in the morning, then you feel sleepy around lunchtime, then you feel alert again. So the way we work with that is we detect your location, and from the location, we understand where you are, when the sun rises and sets where you are, the amount of natural light you're exposed to, and we adapt our soundscapes accordingly. And that's the first scientific pillar. And the second scientific pillar is, of course, the neuroscience of how certain frequencies, scales, and tones influence your cognitive state. So today, we're using, for example, a pentatonic scale, which is known to be very easily processed by the brain and is found in the majority of traditional music throughout the world. Or we're using an approach called sound masking, which allows us to tune out certain harsh and distracting sounds by using what is called colored noises, pink noise, white noise, brown noise, things like this. And again, to reiterate, what sets Endel apart from everything else on the market is that it's real-time, adaptive, and personalized to you. And we are building Endel as an ecosystem so that our personalized soundscapes can follow you everywhere during the day across all of these channels and platforms Endel is available on. And we are currently live on iPhone, Android, Mac, Apple Watch, Alexa, and there's a smart TV version coming out very soon. And what this ecosystem approach allows us to do, it allows us to share input data across the ecosystem. So for example, we would grab your heart rate on a wearable. We would then send this information to Endel Pacific, which is our proprietary patented technology. And this information would then influence the output on any other device you're experiencing Endel on. So for example, you would listen to Endel on your Alexa and that would react to your heart rate. And, we won multiple awards. We've enjoyed multiple Editor's Choice Awards. We've been the Google Play Best of 2019. We've recently been awarded Apple Watch App of the Year by Apple. But also what's very important is Endel was validated by neuroscience. We've recently partnered with a company called AirTop, which does real-time brainwave analysis. And what we did as a part of this experiment is we've recruited 50 people, and those people were wearing, EEG headbands, and they were listening to Endel focus mode, and they were then just performing their task of choice. And we would objectively measure their brainwave activity. And then we would compare that by them listening to the most popular playlist, focus playlists on Spotify and Apple Music. And long story short, Endel is beating all of that. What we objectively see when we're looking at the brainwave data is that listening to a personalized soundscape is way more efficient, at least when it comes to concentration. We can now, safely claim that it's more efficient than listening to a static playlist. And also, starting last year, we've started collaborating with some great artists. You may have heard about a collaboration with Grimes. The way that worked is we've had one of our favorite artists, Grimes, creating a series of sounds, and those sounds were then fed into the algorithm, and the algorithm used those sounds as building blocks to create this personalized real-time soundscape, sleep soundscape that was called AI Lullaby. And that was a massive success. It was covered in all major media. Like, there was a New York Times cover story. Hundreds of thousands of people flooded into the app. So we thought, okay, that works. So we then followed that by Deeper Focus, which was a techno soundscape designed specifically for concentration. We have developed that with a techno legend, Richie Houghton, also known as Plastic Man. And we have very recently, last month, released a spoken word soundscape that was called Wiggly Wisdom, and we did that in partnership with the Alan Watts organization, and we've used some famous talks of a very famous late philosopher called Alan Watts. So this is where Endel is today. And this brings us to Endel in-car experience. So we were always, because Endel was always built with integrations in mind, and specifically we were always fascinated by the idea of what would happen if we bring our technology into a car. And a car is probably one of the few environments where you actually have to focus and relax at different times, depending on the context of what's going on around you, right? So for that, we thought, okay, and we don't want people fiddling with settings and manually switching between focus and relax. So the car experience that we have envisioned for Endel is we wanted to add additional inputs from a car that we're currently not taking in. So in addition to weather, time of day, heart rate, all of this stuff, we're also taking in a car, we're taking in information like average speed and your driving style. And from that, we're making a judgment if, for example, you're stuck in traffic, and we're automatically, proactively switching between focus and relax. So if it's early morning, you're going to work and it's rainy and you're stuck in traffic and you're very annoyed, we're going to play relax to kind of help you not honk at people, not scream at people, combat road rage, and keep you calm. And if it's like 2 a.m. and you're driving on the freeway and it's very late, we're certainly going to play focus at its highest intensity to help you not fall asleep. And that's the in-car experience that we have been working on for quite some time. And we're extremely proud to today present the result of a pilot project that we have developed in partnership with the Mercedes-Benz research group. And I'm actually going to share a video which shows how that experience that we have developed in partnership with Felix and Ravan and his team, to show how this is working in a Mercedes car right now, how this pilot project is working. So this interface is an actual interface of the pilot project app that we've developed for this project specifically. You see it proactively now. It's now in the relax mode because you're only starting your journey. And we are reacting in real time to the weather changes as well. And the sounds that you hear right now, they're actually coming from the prototype that we have developed. Those are the actual sounds. Hopefully you can hear them. It is known that listening to a soundscape synchronized with your average resting heart rate BPM actually brings you into the zone, sort of calms you down. Yes, we hope this is the future of how the in-car experience is going to sound like. And if you have any questions, me and Ravan are happy to take them. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Awesome. I think I will join in again for a little bit. That was really cool. I actually have my own question, if that's okay. So the actual sounds that you gathered, for example, to help relax, which helped me.
It's when the FFS
helped me relax. How do you know to get these sounds? Where do they come from? How do you know that this particular beat, for example, when you're on the highway, how do you know that that works? Because I find that very interesting. I also get quite tired if I'm driving on the boring roads for quite a while. So yeah, I'd be interested to know a little bit more about that. Or is it just a trial and error? You find out what works for people?
It's a combination of different things, actually. You know, there is no clear science at this point, I would say. There's a lot of contradicting researches out there. So we are basically, you know, reading through a lot of those white papers that are available on the market, and then we're trying different approaches, and then we validate what we feel makes sense with the experiments and validation projects that I just mentioned. So for example, for concentration, we now feel pretty confident in saying that what Endel does is more efficient than just a static playlist. And yeah, so I would say, you know, it's a combination of reading what's out there, implementing that into our project, and then just tirelessly going through a number of validation experiments.
Awesome. And it looks like Alvaro has asked a question in the question and answer section. So why have fast music on the highway? Would it not be conducive for concentration? So I think he's asking, would that have perhaps the opposite effect of distracting?
So that's a very good question, actually. So what we have learned, especially when doing this validation study, the brainwave analysis study that I just mentioned, is actually having a steady beat that does not change actually has a very high positive effect on your concentration. And if you look at, like, what we saw is, if you look at someone's brainwave activity when you're listening to a playlist, you know, all of those focus playlists that are out there, the graph looks like this. Like, a certain song works for you and it brings you into the zone, but then another one starts and it just doesn't, and then you see this drop. So it's almost like, you know, you get into the zone, you concentrate, but then you see these drops, and then it's like it goes like this over and over and over again. So with Endel, maybe even the concentration peaks are not that high for individual users, but what we're seeing is, like, having that steady rhythm actually has a very positive effect on your overall concentration. So that, like, I can objectively say that is proven by neuroscience right now that, yeah, having fast but steady, not changing rhythm, actually it works great for concentration.
Awesome. I think that was a really good question from Alvaro, so thank you for that. And I think that will teach me a lesson then to probably not have such crazy music playing myself if I'm going to be driving on the Autobahn or the highway or something like this. I suppose. Oh, we have another question from Micah saying, how did you meet Mercedes and Endel? So maybe both of you can say something about that.
Yeah. At a bar.
Actually, Felix, and I came into the project later on and saw your pitch at the Startup Autobahn event, and I knew your app before that, but the transfer to automotive got me interested.
Yes, we actually met through Startup Autobahn. And yeah, I was initially, skeptical because oftentimes, these corporate startup programs do not work. But here we are, presenting the result of our pilot project. So I'm extremely excited about that. So we met through Startup Autobahn.
Awesome. I think, or I hope at least, that explains a lot of it. I actually have another question, if I can jump in and make sure no one else is asking anything. I would be interested, we have 1 minute left, but a quick, perhaps, background of the both of you, like how did you both, I guess, get involved in sound and the sound design? We don't have to worry. I think the session will be able to technically continue a little bit over the 45 mark, but yeah, we'll see if we can fit that in. Maybe I asked too much.
Raman, you want to take this? No? You want me to go first?
Yeah, sure. Go.
I was always fascinated by music and sound, and it's even in my previous company, which was digital art for kids apps called Bubble. It was a series of digital art for children apps. Those were also about the correlation of color, form, and sound. So I was always fascinated by that, and I think we live in such a crazy world, and sound is the easiest way to control your environment. That is why I always wanted to build something with sound, but sort of take it to the next level. I'm very inspired by the ideas of ambient music legends like Brian Eno and the minimalist composers of the 70s like Steve Reich and Philip Glass. So I wanted to take those ideas, but then kind of take them to the next level by infusing them with modern technology. And that's why we've started Endel.
Is it already
cool.
reserved?
Yeah, in my case, it's a more practical approach. I've been a musician since I can remember and producing music privately with music projects, and before my time here in the automotive industry, I did a lot of projects with interactive, immersive installations. So it kind of transfers to what we do now within the car and what we want to do in the future. It's to bring you in a whole different world within the car and try to create virtual spaces in the car. And I did that a lot with expos and installations. And yeah, that's how I became a sound designer or came into that.
Well, I'm very glad that Endel and Mercedes met, the two of you met, and were able to, I guess, continue on this project together. The time is officially run over. That's now 1:46 p.m. here. So I guess to yourselves, both Oleg and Ravan, thank you so much for joining and showing what you've been working on. Considering the technical problems that we had at the beginning, it seemed to be run very well nonetheless. For everyone else who's still watching, the event's still on for the rest of the day. There'll be networking periods throughout the day and also at the end, and I believe Oleg will also be appearing once again in the networking area for the booths. So you can talk to him directly, and ask him any questions specifically at the end of the day, purely for networking. So I will leave that. I think Oleg will too. But I will start off for myself. Was there anything else you wanted to say, Oleg, to everyone?
No, I just want to, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for attending this. I think to us, this is extremely exciting, what's happening now and what's going to happen next. Yeah, that video that I was showing is available at endel.io/car. So you can read a little bit more about this collaboration. Yeah, and feel free to email me or approach me if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. Thank you everyone who came and watched. Quite a lot of you, so it's very exciting. And we will see you at the networking at the end of the day. But we have sessions throughout the day, so feel free to have a look at those as well. So thank you so much. I will sign off now.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye.